Alrighty, what's up, everyone? Welcome to today's trading recap. We're on day number 5 out of 17 that I'll be sharing these very open trading days. So today was a rather, say, kind of frustrating day. I had a couple of trades on the same stock, that being FOXO Technologies. This thing, as you can see right here, it's been having some crazy moves. It was in the 16-15 cent area the other day, and it went up all the way to $1. Came all the way back down to 30 cents, and then came all the way back up to the 80-90 cent area, came back down, came back up, came back down, and then this morning it was gapping up. And on the daily charts, well, that seemed like a pretty sweet breakout, technical breakout from this dollar area. And as I had already tried several times, so I played the breakouts. Let me get into explaining what my thought process was behind this. So with these types of stocks, again, with any stock, you want to see the significant levels. For me, those significant levels was obviously the dollar area, and more so this mid-90s area. So right there is where you have the real supports, because you had the stock top out at those levels, meaning that resistance that now becomes support once it's above that level. So in the morning, this thing is gapping up pretty much in that dollar area, which is a breakout area. It had quite a bit of volume. As you can see, it traded over 270 million shares today. That's a good indication that people are trading it. It's going to be active, and it's going to have some moves, if not to the upside, then to the downside. So in the morning, right off the bat, this thing had a pretty significant spike, and I actually started getting into this position a little bit in pre-market in these levels, and right at open, and the idea right here was actually going to risk those mid to low 90s. So I started building into my position around here, has this spike, and in this area I added more. So I had a total of 2,000 shares at one point, and my plan here. So I had 2,000 shares at a 108 average. And my plan was to risk around $200 to $250. Means I was going to risk the mid 90s area, kind of around here, 95, 94. I was risking a little bit more because this type of play can offer a lot of profit to the upside. So right here, the plan was for this thing, once it broke out and it held those levels, to continue to go into. So it actually didn't have any significant resistance up into the $2, 150s to the $2 area on the daily chart. So in one way, I was honestly expecting this to significantly just kind of take off. I was going to start selling in the 140s, 150s areas just to take some size off. 2,000 shares was the max size that I wanted to get, being that I was a significant position on this stock. This is a lower float stock, meaning that they move pretty crazily, or they can. They're very volatile, and that's exactly what happened. So I had my 2,000 shares at a 108 average. And right here in the morning, it just seemed like it was going to play out very nicely. It was struggling in the 115 area around here to break out of that. And then once it did, it significantly broke through that level. And then it was playing around in the 120s for 10 minutes. Touched the 130, and then it kind of just rejected the price. Around here, I was sitting comfortable because my average was in the low ones. I really thought 1 was a very significant level, especially the mid 90s. So I was sitting comfortable with my 2,000 shares. because I thought, this is not going to come all the way down, especially since it like convincingly broke out of that 115 area, which it was struggling. At that point, it was already above even the breakout levels of the low ones. So I really felt comfortable with how the trade was playing out. But then right here, rejected pretty hard in the 130s, 120s, all the way to the low teens and the ones. Then it had this candle, dropped down even more into the low ones. And around here, I started feeling a little bit nervous. Once it came right here to the 90s, I was like, all right, this might not work out. And then it had this little bounce up into the 115s. And I really thought right here it was, going to regain that price, regain those levels, and just continue on its run. And nope, it didn't end up happening. Crashed back down to the low ones. And then right here, around this area, I actually set my stop loss, meaning an automatic sell if it comes to a certain level. And I set my stop loss at 97 cents. So I set it at this level. But then if you see this candle right here, it went from 105 all the way down to like the 80-cent area. It ended up executing my sell at 90 cents because it ended up halting here for a few minutes. So I took a little bit of a larger loss than I would have than I was planning to do so, because again, these types of stocks are just choppy and they'll make these types of movements. I should have foreseen it, because the past literally 3 other trading days, it had something similar. So you see the first day how it just like rug pulled. This day, you look at this day, it was like looking like it was gonna break out, and then it just rug pulled. The next day, it's like gaining some momentum to the upside, and then it just rug pull. And what did it do today? Gaining some momentum and actually broke out, and then it rug pulls. So that was pretty frustrating. I ended up exiting my full position at that point. And this is where the psychology with trading comes, and where you fight the emotions behind these types of things. I went from being up over $400, in like the first 30 minutes of the market open, to now being, like break even and down a few $100s. So that was just kind of messing with me. I actually started buying some shares around here, thinking that, it was going to come back up. At this point, the perfect example of 1, revenge trading, 2, being emotional with my trade, and 3, just kind of hoping that it would do that in order for me to feel better about, the trade that I had done, and that my plan was actually correct. So I ended up taking another loss for like $170 on that second trade. So today I actually ended up being down a little bit over $400. Right now it says $394 on here, because I'll explain how I actually got back into the stock. And I'm up a little bit, but that's just a smaller size that I have in there right now. So again, this thing breaks out, chops around, freaking comes back down more than I would have anticipated to do so. And at this point, I really thought, well, this thing is just going to die out. It's literally just going to eat shit and, go down to like 50 cents. But no, it wanted to hold the price right here in the 90-cent area. Actually regained those like key levels, which were like the lows of the day. So right here, I started having a kind of like a debate of like, okay, should I re-enter this? I've seen this again hundreds, if not thousands of times, where stocks, especially these like lower flow types of stocks, where they just do this type of funky action, and they'll chop people around, and then they still end up making the move after having this type of price action where it takes a shit and then it comes back up. So I actually waited the whole day. I didn't get back into the stock, and right here around and after hours, when it was holding those 90s, I started getting back into the position with the idea of swinging this for tomorrow, and just for some continuation. So I actually have 900 shares right now at an average of 90 cents. So I started getting in these little dips right here, with the idea for this to continue going tomorrow, for this to just have been some some funky price action. It's trading a bunch of shares, so you have like hundreds of thousands of shares going through literally every second, damn near. So I'm back in the position, right? Well, I'm back in the stock right now. Smaller size. I want to right now. Ideally, I'm risking the low 80s. Worst case scenario, the high 70s right here, low 80s, with only 900 shares. So right there, it's about $100 right now that I'm risking. But the potential is that this thing continues to run, and it not only touches this level again, but it actually has that breakout that a lot of us thought it was going to have. Obviously right there, depending on what it does tomorrow, if it continues to hold these levels and even gaps up a little bit, holds above that $1, I'll add more size into it. Again, with the goal or with the idea and thesis of this to continue that actual breakout, because this type of action right here, after it even halted down for a little bit and just lost its price, it's still holding up and even bounced up into the low dollar in after hours. So that means there's like a whole battle going on right now with shorts and longs. So I just want to be smart with my trades tomorrow. I don't want to get emotional like I did today. Obviously, I took a larger loss than I would have wanted to, but I was risking a little bit more because this trade, if it would have worked out, I would have been in the range of anywhere between $600 to $1,000 in profit. And I'm hoping I get a good play to show you guys that, and within the next week or two that I'm sharing these videos, so that you can see, what that looks like and those types of plays. I'm not a stranger to making profits of $1,000 plus or minus. So it'd be really cool to capture that and show you guys. Reason as why is to show you my broker, the actual trade, so you can see total gain right here. Today I lost $400. So I want to show you guys that, and so you can see that trading is real. You make real money, but you also lose real money. I haven't gotten into this specifically because I'm just kind of doing the recaps, but trading, for those of you or people who are considering to get into the industry, I always share this with people who I'm close to, and I'll always talk about this. For me personally, trading is one of the most difficult things that I have ever done in my life, for many reasons, but at the same time, it is one of the most rewarding things that I have ever done. I'll get more into that in other videos, but right here you can see kind of what I'm talking about today, where you're up some money and it seems like a good plan, and then it just like craps out, and then you feel like you're fighting the market because you'll get back in because you're trying to make that money back, and then you end up losing more, and then it just becomes this whole mental game and battle. So that's the thing that you learn over time how to get better with. Although I did lose that amount of money today, that's not the most of money I've lost before, and I have lost thousands of times. So you become more numb in a sense to monetary losses. And as I mentioned in one of the other videos, the only L's you take, well, this is for anything really, but in this case, in trading, the only L's you take are lessons. So today I learned, a lesson to, one, not be emotional, be careful with these types of plays, with lower floats that move crazy. Look at previous price action and kind of like anticipate something similar, and just be as meticulous as possible. So again, today, Foxo, let's see how it plays out tomorrow. Tomorrow's video should be interesting. Either this plays out and I add some more size and ends up being a solid trade, or it ends up crapping out and we'll just abandon ship at that point with trading this stock, because who wants to be trading these choppy, annoying stocks. Other things that I'm looking at, SSPPL is still kind of holding that dollar area. It's lost a lot of volume, so right now I kind of want to see it break out of this like 120 area with some volume. And ideally, this continues to go up into its highs and even potentially break out. MARA is reacting to Bitcoin prices. Today, Bitcoin kept going. I don't even know what Bitcoin's at right now. But, it's just kind of up there. I think the best trade was yesterday when my account wasn't allowing me to freaking buy anything because I didn't have money available. I think that right here was a trade when all the momentum was there. People were excited about Bitcoin. This BTCT company popped out of nowhere today from being just in the $2 area yesterday all the way up to 17, coming all the way down. This right here is actually one of my patterns. This one could be a little bit tricky and difficult because you kind of have to time it and looking at levels. And at some point it could feel like you're trying to guess, where this little bounce can happen. But this thing went from, halting all the way up to 17, coming all the way down to $9 and $9.30 area to bouncing back into the high 13s. It looks like it scraped the 14 area. So that was like a $4 to $5 bounce. That's significant, especially if you're trading with a smaller account. That can really move the needle on there. But again, you have to time these well. A lot of times you'll try the bounce over here and you add a bunch of size and it keeps coming down and then you take a loss and then you see it come bounce back up and then you're all frustrated. That's happened to me many times. But I do like this type of pattern because these things will run like crazy and then slam back down, and then you have these types of bounce which are essentially inevitable in a way where it'll give you some or just have a bounce. So I saw this a little bit later. Saw it when it was around this area. I didn't want to get into it anymore because these levels over here were the most significant ones. But I'm still going to be watching it tomorrow, see what it does. This could continue running, or this could come back down all the way to these levels. It come back down to the 4s. I'll probably buy it down here, expecting just kind of like a little bounce. This CERO yesterday, it traded I think it traded like 1 billion shares. Today it traded like 700 million. So this it's a very cheaper stock, but it's trading a lot of volume. Not a huge fan of super these stocks that cost 20-30 cents because any little move is significant. I mean, you can make a lot of money in small moves up, but then you can also lose on the way down. Honestly, Fox was one of those too. I'm not the biggest fan of trading stocks in the dollar area, 80 or cents area, because moves to the upside or downside are significant percentages. But again, that's what's in play. I've seen them over time. I know what type of play I'm looking for in it. I'm trying to assess my risk and just having a plan and sticking to that plan. I think my sweet spot for stocks is the $3 to $6 area. Those types of stocks, you can have some really good risk and some significant gains without them being super choppy. I have a bunch of other stocks open, but those are pretty much the main ones that I'm looking for the next few days. Things are just popping up on the fly, so you never know what to expect right now. The market, I would say, is pretty active right now, but it's also being choppy still, as we saw today with Foxo. So let's see what happens. Tune in for tomorrow's video to see what ends up happening with this trader, if I get into anything else, and we'll go from there. But again, thank you for tuning in. You saw today what a $400 loss looks like, and exactly how that happened. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.